Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the April 17th. Welcome to the April 17th, 2024 meeting of the Daytona Beach City Commission. We're delighted to have each of you with us tonight. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call?
Commissioner Reed.
Here.
Commissioner Paris.
Here.
Commissioner Strickland.
Here.
Commissioner May.
Here.
Commissioner Cantu.
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Present.
Mayor Derek L. Henry.
Here.
Okay. We'll now move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the March 20th, 2024 City Commission meeting.
We have a motion from Commissioner May and a second from Commissioner Strickland. Any questions or comments? All right, hear none. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. This time, if there are any agenda changes, our city manager will address them.
Yes, Honorable Mayor Commissioners, item 8B, City Manager's Office Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund Distribution. Add $500 distribution to Mid-Florida Community Services, Inc. from Mayor Derek L. Henry. 8I, we will reflect the changes made at the CRA meeting in reference to the parcel purchases from the CRA. That concludes the changes for the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda with the said changes.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 6, which is our presentation. Item 6A is the Public Works Department Beautification Tree Advisory Board Awards. A member of the Beautification Tree Advisory Board to present.
Mayor Henry, members of the City Commission, Mr. Fiecher. My name is Sharon Weatherholtz, 3 Granville Circle, Zone 1. The Beautification Tree Advisory Board has selected Mr. and Mrs. David Zickefoose of 2062 South Peninsula Drive as the Residential Beautification Award winner for the month of April 2024. David and Geralyn have been residents of Daytona since 1984, except for being in the Army for 20 years. They have resided at this address for the past 3.5 years. The house was built in 1954, and it has a lot of original irrigation system that was installed with galvanized steel pipe. David and Geralyn take pride in creating their own landscape, adding to the beautification of their home. They also have a very large stone in the front yard, rock, that I want. The types of trees, shrubs, and plants used for the beautification include crotons, orchids, hibiscus, peace lilies, and birds of paradise. City Commissioner Monica Paris, Zone 1, will be presenting the award. Come on down.
Commissioner?
Oh, if you guys want to come over to the microphone.
I'd like to present you with the Beautification for Zone 1 Beautification Award. I just want to thank you very much. I know it's a lot of hard work and dedication, and I really appreciate that you make the neighborhood look pretty. And every time I drive by, I really do smile. So it is appreciated, and we thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Oh, that's the only one.
Okay. I guess there was just a residential. Okay.
All right.
So we're going to move on to item number 7, which is citizen comments. During this time, citizens have the opportunity to address the City Commission on any item on the consent agenda. My first speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is Evelyn Rodriguez.
with regard to F, G, H, and I. F, we've already discussed it. Secondly, I'm not quite sure, when we're talking about the topography on Beach Street from Mason Avenue to Michigan, it goes underground, underwater. We're going to sort of, kind of, almost, maybe a little bit raise the buildings on Beach Street with the High Brown building and the apartments. Then we go into a bowl at the foot of the Main Street Bridge. They're not going to put the roundabout, but it still will be a bowl. So you can't use Main Street during any storm. So if we're going to look at this area, we're going to end up with two high areas and then an empty bowl in the middle so that nobody can get north or south. So if you're going north on Beach Street, you have to stop and you're going to go back to 2nd Avenue and go up and around. Or if you're coming from Mason Avenue, you'll be able to get to Fairview, but then you'll have to go to Nova or to Ridgewood to get up and go around. So when you look at this, you have to look at the intersection of Fairview and Beach Street, because that can't continue to be a bowl full of water so that nobody can go north or south or east or west at that point. Secondly, the tennis center, I don't understand what we're going to do with the tennis center. It's in a low area. You can't move those tennis courts. You're not going to rebuild them. So I'm wondering what the topography is needed there. And the purchase of the 4 vacant lots, why didn't we apply for the African American Museum when it was up for bids?
We did.
If we did, I don't remember this being mentioned. If it was, it is the perfect location for the State African American Museum. We are the best location in terms of upper mobile African American community from the 1900s on. We have the college. We have 3 of some of the most famous African Americans in the United States. Jackie Robinson, we just had his debut remembrance. Everybody knows about Mary McLeod Bethune. It appears nobody knows about Howard Thurman. That's somebody that I knew from high school when I had debate. Everybody knew about Howard Thurman. Everybody knew about Mahatma Gandhi. Apparently, we don't know. So it's something that we as a city should promote, not just people that debate, not just people that are involved in the civil rights movement, but he is one of our most educated African Americans who is worldwide known, and we at least should know it as a city and promote him. Thank you.
Good education, John.
Our next speaker is Ellen Rodriguez.
Evelyn Rodriguez, Molly Road, Daytona Beach. I would just like some clarification on 8J. So we're going to spend $400,000 for just a matter of 4 months, and then after that, you're going to renew this every year. I mean, we've replaced pumps for $150,000. I don't understand why maintenance just $400,000 just for 5 years, and then, or is this allotted $400 if we use it or not? I'd like some clarification about how these monies are going to be spent.
That was my final speaker for the consent agenda.
All right, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Not yet.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Reed and a second from Commissioner May. We have any questions or comments?
Mayor, I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's in regards to 8H. I just wanted to confirm, I know I confirmed with the city manager, but this doesn't mean that the City Island tennis courts are going to be moved to the Florida Tennis Center, correct?
That is correct. Any movement of those courts will have to be approved by the elected body.
I appreciate it. Thank you for clarification.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 9, which is our public hearings and quasi-judicial hearings. Item 9A is a Finance Department ordinance authorizing a loan application and loan agreement under the FDEP Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. This is an ordinance on second reading, public hearing. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Daytona Beach, Florida, relating to the State Revolving Fund, SRF, loan program, making findings, authorizing an SRF loan application for lead service line inventory and replacement planning in a maximum amount of $5,693,115, establishing pledged revenues, designating authorized representatives, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute any required amendments, providing assurances, authorizing the budget officer to amend the budget, providing for conflicts, severability, and effective date.
We have a motion from Commissioner Henry, I think a second from Commissioner May. Do we have any questions or comments?
I do
Okay.
have one speaker, Mr. Mayor, Mr. John Nicholson.
Nine
9A.
eight, yes, sir. All right,
Okay.
no speakers. You'll have another chance on another item. Okay. We have a motion, have a second, no other speakers?
No other speakers.
Got the right name? Don't want to miss anybody. Anybody else want to speak? Okay. All right. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. I'm going to move on to item 9B. It's a Growth Management and Planning Department, Fifth Amendment to the Tomoka Town Center PD. This is an ordinance on second reading, public hearing. An ordinance approving the Fifth Amendment to the Tomoka Town Center Plan District Agreement to increase the maximum permitted wall signage for the Ashley Furniture Store, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the Fifth Amendment, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Second.
I don't know, was it you? Commissioner May and Commissioner Henry. Motion by Commissioner May, second by Commissioner Henry, third by Commissioner Cantu. Okay.
I have no speakers. I do have Jessica Gao here for any questions.
Okay. All right, do you have any questions of Ms. Gao? No questions? All right, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 9C. It's a Growth Management Planning Department beachfront addressing requirements. This is an ordinance on second reading, public hearing. An ordinance amending Article 9, Section 9.2.b of the Land Development Code to require all properties adjacent to the Atlantic Ocean to install visible addressing on the rear of all buildings facing the beachfront, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Reed and a second from Commissioner Parrish.
And this was the one, John? Okay. I
Okay.
have one speaker, Mr. John Nicholson.
Mr. Nicholson?
With regard to this, the county talked about it, and they wanted 12 inches. How many of you can see the clock in the back of the room? Any of you can see the numbers on the clock in the back of the room? The numbers in the clock, about 1.5 inches. All right? You're going to require all of these properties to end up with 12-inch letters. We're talking like this, all right? Our beaches at the maximum during summer for 2 months, if you're standing in the water, you're 400 feet away from the seawalls. Normally, you're about the distance you are now from the seawall. So if anything happens, would you be able to see those letters, those numbers? You would. We have a 4-inch requirement in front of all our buildings. That should be more than enough. If we double it or triple it to 8 inches, 8 inches would be more than enough, 6 or 8 inches. I don't like sign pollution. When you get too large, it's a pollution. So I'm asking you to think about something that's aesthetically pleasing, that can be seen from the beaches. I think 12 inches, if you look at that clock, it's huge. If you could have 3 or 4 numbers across at that height, you can see that from a mile away in the ocean. So I'm asking you to consider 6 inches, which is 5 times what you have for those numbers, and that can be seen easily by anybody on the beach. Thank you.
That was my only speaker for this item.
All right, got a motion, got a second. Got any other questions or comments?
Just a comment. I wanted to thank Ted from the Beachside Neighborhood Watch for bringing this to our attention, and we were able to work with the county and also other cities to get numbers on the seawalls. So when someone calls for an emergency, they know where they're located. So thank you very much.
Great idea. Great work. Great work, Commissioner. Okay. Got a motion, got a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 9D. It's a Growth Management Planning Department, Exalt Health Hospital Medical Rezoning. This is an ordinance on second reading, quasi-judicial hearing. An ordinance amending the zoning map of the land An ordinance amending the zoning map of the Land Development Code to rezone 3.7 plus or minus acres of property, generally located on the southwest corner of intersection of Mason Avenue and Clyde Morris Boulevard, from PDG Plan Development General to HM Hospital Medical, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
So move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Cantu and a second from Commissioner May. Do we have any speakers?
I do not. I do have Mr. Joe Hopkins here available for any questions.
Okay. Yes, sir. Well, you can become a speaker.
Yeah, did you sign?
Okay, come on.
Okay. Come on up, sir, and you can just state your name and address for the record.
Jerome Thompson. My address is 784 Tennessee Street. I live in the neighborhood adjacent to, what have you, of this proposed development. An objection, I don't know if I really have a true objection for it. Concerns though, right? The corner of this neighborhood, Mason Avenue and Alabama Street, it already floods and puddles there when it rains, right? I went to one of their meetings they had on Mason Avenue a couple months ago. I did bring my concerns to them for what would they do with the water when they develop these acres. Because right now, that property holds its own water, and I believe it drains out to Clyde Morris. They told me they would throw it back in the neighborhood. We already puddle right there, and that's the main interest of the neighborhood. So what we got? The adjacent property to it, Mr. Schaefer, he's shaking in his boots, because he would be totally flooded out if they throw a watershed of that size onto his little 3 lots. What do you got? Alabama Street exists now. The drainage is based on ditches. So what happens when the ditches fill up? They got a lot of homes they're putting there now. That's my main concern is the infrastructure of the water. What happens with the drainage? And I'm quite sure they're going to be treating it, lawn sprays, things of that nature. What happens when you push it back into the neighborhood? Another thing. This usage, medical building, 40 beds. They told me it's some type of healing, whatever, medical, right? That's true, but we know that buildings are buildings, and a medical building is a medical building, whether you use it for natural healing, medicinal, whatever, mental, it doesn't matter. The point is this, they're getting the money from a hedge fund or equity firm. You know, we're talking business, intense business, high interest rates. If this building does not produce what they need to produce to make their payments, what happens to this building? What's the next step of usage? What, do we have a methadone clinic after this? What do we have? How far will they go? This neighborhood, me being a victim of it in many different ways as a young guy, the drug epidemic, right? So what happens? Do we allow drugs to come in because it's legal now? And we still a victim of it as a neighborhood, you're still held in this corner. Because if it does not work out, they got to get their money back. It's respected. But what happens to the neighborhood? I also spoke to them about caveats. What happens with the local community? Is there any job promises, training, internships, scholarships, anything that they can offer? Because it is medical, it makes money. They told me, no, it would not be any caveats. They're going to come in and do their business. If somebody qualifies for a job, they get it. They do not, they don't get it. I mean, contracts, I mean, you got more than just a job working for them, but that's just their way of pushing you around, getting what they want. But at the end of the day—
Thank you, sir. Your time has expired.
You finish your last
at
statement.
the end of the day, if the building does not produce what it should, what happens to the neighborhood and everybody affected? That's my thing.  'Cause- 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 'cause
Jill Hopkins was here for any questions.
Can we address the concern about the water being placed back in the
So-
neighborhood or being rerouted at some level?
Yeah,
It's-
for the benefit of the commissioners, we're just at a rezoning stage. And there's no site plan submitted, there's no specific proposal, whatever the applicant's intent. Rezoning doesn't affect whether there's going to be a drainage issue or not. Those are all looked at in accordance with our land development code at the time that a site plan or a plat's submitted. And we have criteria in the land development code that would then be applied to describe what somebody could or couldn't do, as well as there being regulations imposed by state agencies such as the St. Johns River Water Management District that would also apply at that point. But they're asking to rezone to a standard zoning district, which would just allow them to go into our land development code book, look at that particular zoning district, and see what kind of uses they might be able to do, subject to all of the rules of the land development code that would apply at that point.
Go ahead, Joe.
Members of the commission, and Commissioner May, I'd like to address your point directly. This is a little bit of a unique application in that we are requesting a zoning change to hospital medical, but we know specifically who our end user is. So when we conducted a neighborhood meeting, we introduced the end user and we introduced the site plan, how the building is going to be arranged, how it's going to be placed, where's the parking, everything. We were completely face up on what we're doing on the site. This particular property is the headwaters of the neighborhood, if you will. It drains to the west. We've confirmed that with the Water Management District and also with the Department of Transportation. The problem that Mr. Thompson is referring to is at the intersection of Alabama and Clyde Morris Boulevard, there is a French drain. There's an inlet and a piece of pipe underground that goes nowhere. So as soon as that inlet and pipe, the intersection floods. We're going to correct that. We're going to install some storm drain within Alabama, and we're going to extend it all the way to Mississippi, where the first inlets are located. There's no ditches in the right-of-way or anything at this point, and we're going to correct that. We designed the site once before for a previous use, and we addressed these issues at that time, and we're going to do it again. We're going to work with the Public Works Department, and we're going to come up with a design that's acceptable to them, and also, as Ben said, acceptable to the Water Management District. So again, this is a bit of a unique use. It's a rehabilitation hospital. It's for acute rehab, medical, backs, hip replacements, things of that sort. It's not at all a drug rehabilitation facility or anything of that sort. This is a need in the community. The group Exalt that is putting this forward, they know what they're doing. They're not going to spend over $20 million on this facility and not know what they're doing. I can assure you of that. So Mr. Thompson raised those concerns during the neighborhood meeting, very hypothetical, what if, what if. If we ask ourselves what if every time, I don't know that we get anywhere. But in this case, we have an applicant that wants to purchase this property and build this hospital, and this is above par. This is a hospital that's regulated by ACA, the Agency for Medical Facilities in the state of Florida. So this is a real deal. And I don't know, Mayor, you've been around for a while, but this property has been vacant as far back as Google Earth could tell me. And you know, the contribution that this is going to make to the community, not only for the employment, but the tax base and just the pure eye satisfaction of seeing something vertical on this high traveled corner is going to be very, very important and a true contribution to the community. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
No additional questions. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson, for bringing that up, though. Nonetheless, we appreciate residents advocating on behalf of their community to bring issues to us that we might not see or think of. So it is appreciated. Do we have any other questions or comments?
No, but I hope that Joe has answered Mr. Thompson's inquiry and that it will be addressed.
Well, I think part of that is also up to us to make sure that that's addressed at the end of the day,
Most
even
definitely.
as he said.
Mhm.
So I'm sure it will be. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, moving on to item 9E. It's the Growth Management and Planning Department Waypoint Proportionate Fair Share Parent Tract Agreement. This is a resolution public hearing. A resolution approving the Waypoint Proportionate Fair Share Parent Tract Agreement between the city, BFKL Waypoint LLC, and the County of Volusia, providing for allocation of an initial proportionate share contribution paid by the developer to Volusia County in connection with certain off-site roadway improvements required by the Waypoint Plan District Agreement, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the agreement and providing an effective date.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cantu, take a second by Commissioner May. Do we have any questions or comments?
And I have no
No
speakers.
speakers. All right. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. We have no introduction of ordinances on this agenda, so we're going to move on to item number 11, which is the administrative items. Item 11A is the City Manager's Office Economic Development Advisory Board Appointments Resolution. A resolution appointing 4 members to the Economic Development Advisory Board to serve 3-year terms ending February 28, 2027, and providing an effective date. Ms. Betty Goodman to present.
I was wondering why she sat down.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This agenda item is to appoint 4 members to the Economic Development Advisory Board. The membership terms of Carol Killian and Christo Macronas have expired, and both would like to continue to serve. We have 15 additional applications. One important thing to note is no more than 2 members on this board may be non-resident and must own a business in the city. So tonight, only 1 non-resident person may be appointed, since we already have 1 on the board, which would make the 2. Any questions?
Yeah, who's all the non-residents? I know a few of them. Would that be Bud Ritchie?
Okay, so the 1 non-resident is Jared Harris. So they can
The
only.
one on the board now, but she means who are the options,
From
the
the list.
ones that are,
She'll hand it out. I think it says it's on the.
Yes,
That's-
yes, the ones that I emailed.
yeah. I don't remember that. Thank you kindly. And how many people we appointing?
So there's
We're
15,
appointing 4,
15 additional,
appointing 4 members.
because we have 14 additional on the agenda item. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So if we voted for Christos, that would be 2. He
Yes,
would make the second one.
yes.
Okay.
So one of the applicants had to be removed because of the length of the, how old the application was, and that was Mr. Weatherholt. So you can take his name off. Okay.
You're already on board, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of y'all.
So everybody followed what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So the residents already on the city board, we're voting for them too?
Yes, so you have 4 votes.
Correct.
You can only vote for 1 person who's a non-resident, because you can only have 2 non-residents. So Mr. Derek Harris is already on the board, so you can vote for 1 more tonight.
And the reappointment is one of them.
If you reappoint,
And that's it.
that's the one. So that means you have 3 more people you can vote for if,
Right. Because you said residents on the board.
And don't forget to put your name on the ballot.
It was getting kind of confusing because half that board was my zone originally.
Yes.
Macronis, Chris Bowler. Okay, so let's start over. Commissioner May, Carol Killian, Christus Macronis, Chris Bowler,
See if they're still in there. I'm talking.
okay. Carol Killian, Christos, Chris Bowler,
Well, just
And
undervote. She got to vote on each one of them. That's right. Got to vote.
okay, Vernon Leatherholtz. Okay, but
He's not eligible.
He's not.
I know it.
He said he's not eligible.
Take off.
Let her work on her ballot while you do some others.
Do some.
You know, some students, it take them a little more time to get their homework done.
Okay, y'all remember I sent this out in advance. You do remember that, don't you?
I don't understand why you're putting on the residents that are already on the board. I think that's.
No. I'm saying that they're on another board. I tried to let you know. I tried to give you additional. I'm trying to give you information.
What?
So I see why she's thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, Ken Strickland, Carol Killian, Mavronis, Bradford Gonzalez, and Steve Miller. Okay, Monica Paris, Carol Killian, Susan Dolan, Christopher Bowler, and Michael Zaharias. Mayor Henry, Carol Killian, Christos, Bradford Gonzalez, and Ruth Traeger. Commissioner Henry, Carol Killian.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So go ahead. What commissioner is this now?
You want me to do that one again?
Sure.
Okay, that was Mayor Henry, Carol Killian, Christos, Bradford Gonzalez, and Ruth Traeger.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Henry, Carol Killian, David Pough, P-O-U-G-H,
Okay.
Steve Miller, and Bud Ritchie. Paula Reed, Commissioner Reed, Carol Killian, Christos Moronis, Dan Bowlerjack, and Christopher Bowler. Okay, Commissioner Cantu, Carol Killian, Susan Dolan, Christopher Bowler, and Bud Ritchie. Okay. Okay, Commissioner May, Carol Killian, Christos Moronis, Ruth Traeger, and Chris Bowler.
Okay. So Carol Kenyon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Christopher Maroon says 1, 2, 3, 4. Christopher Bowler has 4. And then Bradford no. I don't have it. Let's see. Everyone else is 2 or 1. So the top 3 are, Carol Killian and Christos. And Christopher Bowler, the top 3.
Okay, and then there's a tie among,
Bradford Gonzalez got Commissioner Strickland and Mayor Henry. Susan Dolan got Commissioner Paris and Commissioner Cantu. Ruth Traeger got Commissioner May and Mayor Henry. Steve Miller got Commissioner Strickland and Commissioner Henry. Bud Ritchie got Henry and Cantu. And Michael Zor's got Paris.
You gotta take out the ones that are not in the city, though. The ones that are not in the city, because you already got one, right? So you can only have that person been elected,
So the non-resident.
non-resident.
yeah.
Okay, so then we.
So Bud Ritchie got 2 votes?
He's out, though.
So he can't,
Can't, yeah,
he's out.
Okay.
somebody else.
You got it.
So we need to do, I guess, a tiebreaker between Bradford Gonzalez, Ruth Traeger, Susan Dolan, and Steve Miller. Repeat those names again. Steve Miller? Yes, so it's Bradford Gonzalez, Susan Dolan, and Steve Miller, and Ruth Traeger. So there's 4. They need to pick.
So you want to just do those by,
Just give our things back now. That's-
Sure. Or they giving you a piece of paper.
give them a paper again?
Just write a name on it. 1.
Huh?
Just write it in.
Oh, because I had some blank. Okay.
All right. Excuse me. I'm ready. I should not eat Popeyes. You know,
Technically, she'll read them out.
Commissioner May, Ruth Traeger, Commissioner Strickland, Steve Miller, Commissioner Paris, Susan Dolan, Commissioner Cantu, Susan Dolan, Commissioner Reed, Steve Miller, Mayor Ruth Traeger, and Commissioner Henry, Ruth Traeger.
It's Ruth Traeger. That's three. Can we have a motion to appoint those members and to adopt the results?
So move.
Thank you.
you got the whole slate? Motion. All right, motion
Oh,
and a second.
oh. I am so sorry. John, did you want to get up and speak on this? It's not. They haven't voted yet. They just did a motion in a second.
Yep, we haven't voted. Got a motion in a second.
Okay, you weren't listening.
We're not gonna listen anyway, is that what you said?
He wasn't listening.
Oh, he wasn't listening. All right, we got a motion, got a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
All situated here, we're going to move on to item 11B, which is redevelopment neighborhood services request for a 10-foot waiver for rear setback of affordable housing development at 319 San Juan. This is a resolution granting a 10-foot reduction to the rear setback applicable under the City Land Development Code to a single-family lot located at 319 San Juan Avenue in order to allow development and use of the lot as affordable housing in accordance with Section 6.22.e of the Land Development Code and providing an effective date.
So move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Cantu, second, Commissioner Reed.
I did have a speaker.
John
Ms.
Nick-
Ruth Traeger, did you want to speak on this item?
Oh.
Ruth Traeger, 610 Bostwick Avenue. I basically just wanted to ask a question. Now, this 10-foot waiver of the rear setback, would that leave no backyard for these people, or would it come up to the property line?
The setback is 25 feet, so this
The
would
rear
reduce it,
setback.
this would reduce it to 15 feet.
Thank you very much.
Okay. That was my only speaker for this item, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we have a motion.
Oh,
and a
wait,
second.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know, do we have a timeline for this? Because she's been waiting for a while.
Yeah.
When is the developer going to start this?
Commissioner Cantu, we can't give you when the developer's going to start it, but
Okay.
tomorrow morning, they will be able to pull a permit if that's what they desire to
Thank
do.
you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for putting that on record tomorrow
Yes.
morning.
Oh, all right. We have a motion, have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. And that was the last agenda item.
All right, believe we start with Commissioner Henry tonight.
I think it's me.
Oh, it says,
Commissioner
oh, that was
Reed.
Pledge of Allegiance. That's why it goes there. My bad. Commissioner, who is it? You got Reed?
Reed.
Reed.
Okay.
Well, first, I want to say that I was honored to represent the mayor and the commission at the Advent Health unveiling of their new facility. It was an honor to be there, and it is going to definitely make a difference for our community. Our citizens won't have to go so far to get the help that they need. By traveling, the accessibility is right there. On Friday, I had an opportunity with Commissioner Strickland. We attended the Witness Gala. And if you're looking for something to make a contribution to, I really wish you would do that. This is a program for women that are on the street. Witness, it's an acronym that stands for Women in Transition Now Establishing Support for Themselves. And as I mentioned at that dinner, that I have never had to worry about where I laid my head. I've never had to worry if I'm gonna have a meal. Even when I was in grad school and all I had was a can of corn, okay? I had something to eat, and I was in an apartment with a roof over my head. So just imagining women out on the street and not having shelter really greatly concerns me, particularly being a woman. So this program is for that, and I thank you, Commissioner. I think Cantu may have made a contribution to them in the past. I know Strickland has, and I have, so please consider contributing to them. Then on another good note, don't forget that this Saturday, Daisy Stocking Park is going to open. Please come out and join us at 5 p.m. is the opening of the park, and at 6:30 p.m., one of Daytona's own. I got to get the real name. L.A. Robinson and his band will be performing. You know, he's a Daytona boy, Bethune-Cookman graduate, and his nickname is Bo Peep. So that's what most of us call him by. And when he performed at our summer series, and this does kick off the Midtown Summer Series last summer, it was the largest audience that we'd had for any of the concerts that we'd had, because he's a homeboy and he does perform well. Then the next Saturday on the 27th will be the Crab and Seafood Festival on Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. It's our 4th annual Crab and Seafood Festival, and staff has done a lot to prepare for both of these events. So please, please come out and support them. That concludes my comments. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Parrish?
This week, I attended the Interfaith and Community Resource Network at the Church of Epiphany. Sue Odina invited me, and also Brad. A lot of our residents showed up, which was nice, and it spoke about reducing overdose through community approaches. So I learned about new programs that I would like to share with the city manager when we meet next time. Also speaking about homelessness and affordable housing with Family Renew and services that they offer. And there's also mental health in our community. The Presbyterian Counseling Center also offers mental health services. Another thing that I attended was, it was afternoon tea in Ponce Inlet, and it was with the Northland Group, which is another church group that they got together and raised funds for the Beacon Center, which is now the Domestic Abuse Council, DAC. So that was just really nice, just to see the community come together, gather things that are needed, make donations for a good cause. Just also another reminder, the job fair for teens, Volusia County Schools is having it April 18th from 5 to 7 at Mainland High School. And then before the Seafood Festival, make sure you go to the 2024 Housing Fair and Financial Clinic. A lot of good information there. And the last thing I wanted to bring up was my condolences go out to Steve Koenig's family. He ran the Bel Air Community Group, and I always look forward to his newsletter because it's very informative and you know what's going on in the community. I guess the reason why I brought all these things up is that we do have a large community that really cares about what's going on and working together to help each other out. So I'm just very proud of all our residents. Thank you.
To add to the passing of Steve Koenig, there'll be a service, celebration of life, Friday night, 6 p.m., Our Lady of the Lord's Catholic Church. Saturday, I went down to the the sunset music thing on Beach Street. They had a couple of bands there. They were pretty good. A good crowd for the second half of the show that while I was there. It was very entertaining. We need more of that stuff along Beach Street and any of our other business areas in this city. Beach Street, Main Street, MMB. The Seafood Festival is I really look forward to that this year. I had to leave abruptly last year. Also today, as fate would have it, I was coming across the bridge there at Main Street, and I saw black smoke billowing down to the southeast. And I drove around and almost across from the, well, actually it was across from the parking lot at the Beachside Police Precinct. There was a building engulfed in flames. Didn't take long for our fire department to show up, 3 trucks. They took care of it really quickly. Chief was there, and they did a great job. I just wanted to say that. I guess that's all I have. Good night.
So the downtown event this weekend, really well attended over a period of days. The setup was very well done as well. The merchants downtown were very happy. On Thursday, we heard about a mural contest. So they were doing murals, little mini murals that were maybe this big, maybe double the size, all over the downtown core. And they also had some in the park. And what I appreciated about it was it wasn't permanent. It's there, you put hairspray over it, you protect it against the weather, then you can do something else in the future. But it definitely brought about 175 people before the event for a week prior to the downtown core. And then also on Saturday and Sunday, I noticed there were people in the park enjoying the Rose Garden. And it was just really nice to see the synergy between the baseball field being alive and active, and then Beach Street at the same time. And it was a nice changeover of people. So it was busy from midday all the way through. Now, we can't do it every week, but downtown is doing a good job of sponsoring through the DDA events on a very regular basis, as I told you last week. So expect more events from us. We have about, I think, 23 to 25 planned. And then we also have this year, then we also have the Sunset Concert Series coming.
Good, great. Commissioner?
Yes, I actually went to the baseball game on Friday night. Teacher was there, threw out the pitch. It will do, like the mayor said last time. I did actually a little bit better than last year. Yeah, and I did welcome the Art Fest. It was amazing, over 160 artists. I was actually very impressed. Actually, I did that for you. Appreciate it. But, and that surfboard was incredible. I actually got pictures on there. Like I was a teenager again. But the other thing I want to talk to you, Future, about, and I know you was sent an email about the affordable housing project the county is doing. They would like to come do a presentation, and if we can set that up, that would be great. I know Jessica Gal and, I always say her name now, is it Nika Hosini, put that together, and I would like to hear more about it, and I'm hoping the commission's okay with that too, to see what they're doing. And Ann, I actually talked to Ann from HUM, and she's on that board as well, and she would like to come and Brad from the county and do a presentation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, George and I have already spoken. He's coordinating, since Brad works for him, when they will be making the presentation to you all.
Okay.
great, thank you, and that's it.
All right, great. Commissioner?
Just a couple things today. I want to thank the mayor because I had Neighborhood Watch, my first Neighborhood Watch in probably 5 or 6 months, because we're kind of in transition right now with no leadership. And the mayor had to step in and run the meeting for me because I got really sick. And so I want to thank him for doing that for me. Also, I just wanted to go over a couple of really great things that are going on in Zone 5 and give some updates. The big thing is that the parking lot has been extended at YSG, and the new multipurpose field is in progress. Summer camp is now You can register, so it's underway for summer camp. Also, I thought that this was really neat. The city of Daytona Beach has a new non-emergency reporting system called C-Click-Fix. It is a community-driven tool and request management system that bridges the gap between the residents and the city staff to increase resident engagement. So you can click and get someone out to look at your issue or get it fixed, and I think that's really neat. And it's available Monday through Friday during regular business hours. Vine Street and 3rd Street has a new project coming along starting on the 29th of April. And it is a full-depth reclamation of Vine Street from 6th to Brentwood and 3rd from Vine to Nova. And that's going to be starting on the 29th of April. Also, I want to update my residents and anyone else who is listening on all of the resurfacing that's going on in Zone 5. These are the streets that we have scheduled for right now. That is 3rd Street, 4th Street, 5th Street, Berkshire Road, Brentwood Drive, Essex, Lewis Drive, North Street, and Vine Street. All will be being resurfaced. The sidewalks are coming along really nicely. There are new sidewalks coming along in every part of the city. I've gotten quite a few calls. Residents are excited. They look good. I just want to know if there is a way where we're putting all those new sidewalks, if we can pressure wash the old ones so that they can look a lot better. Because the old ones look bad and the new ones look really, really good. So I don't know if that's possible, but that's something I'd like to look at. This is a really, really big one because this has been the biggest issue, and that is that the Jimmy Ann and LPGA signalization design. So that light for LPGA and Jimmy Ann has been an issue for years. I think I stayed at that stop sign maybe 10 minutes the other day. So, and it wasn't even the rush hour traffic time. So it's coming. They're going to be working on the design for it. And those are just some of the updates of some things that are going on in Zone 5. Also, I would like for staff to give me an update on the Derbyshire Park and know what's going on and what's our next plan for that particular park and that particular area. And if I could get an update on that, that would be most appreciative. And those are my comments for tonight.
All right.
Thank you.
On Saturday, the manager and commissioner of Zone 6 and I went to a wedding that was held on Manatee Island. And Manatee Island is a space that I wouldn't take my children to for all of their lives until now. It was, one of the spaces I was embarrassed of. We couldn't take care of it. Just couldn't make it presentable. But on Saturday, I was reminded of what can happen when you partner with someone who has the resources and the sort of legal maneuvering to make things happen. And it's spectacular. The whole park, the whole downtown, we have a lot to be proud of in this city. And Manatee is it's an odd space for us because we don't have anything else like it. But I went away and I know people kept saying, well, gee, you think he's never been here? Well, I hadn't gone until it got cleaned up. I knew when I was going. Just like I have not gone to Daisy because I don't want to see it until we open it. I'm one of those people. I still like to be sort of surprised. And while I won't be there on Saturday for the kickoff for Daisy, I'm going to go by that morning and afternoon to just take in. I've seen the pictures, but I'm just going to go by to take it in. So I took that space in, and I said all of that to say that we're moving in the right direction. I mentioned at the last meeting that Vince Carter would that day be announced, I thought, as a Hall of Famer, and that did happen. So I am going to call his mother tomorrow and have a discussion with her, and then I will come back to you all, because it's not every day that you get that in your community. We are sponsoring table, but I think that we should find a way to do something as a city that both honors him and honors us, because we as a community can take ownership. We're not the genetic progenitors, but we're the community that created this Hall of Famer. So I think we should take tremendous pride in that accomplishment as our own. But I think most importantly, we want to be able to properly establish him as the model of possibility that he is. So it gives us an opportunity to say to the children of today and future generations that from Daytona Beach, you can accomplish anything. And I think that he sends that message in the life of humility that he has led and accomplishment. So I'm going to have a conversation with her, and then I'll come back to you all and we will figure out something. But I really want it to be something that allows the children to have access to this great journey. And that concludes my remarks.
Yep.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Commissioners. I just wanted to say that this is Autism Awareness Month. So whenever April comes, I wear this because my nephew is autistic, and I think that people should be very mindful of autism and that, I mean, although he's autistic, he is a very smart individual. And so I wear this to, when people ask, so recognize that, to understand what families that deal with autistic children have to go through. Also, the security pilot program started on Monday. It has been very successful interactions between the security individuals in the downtown Beach Street area. And we do know the radios work because our security team was able to contact our local police department and help deal with an issue where someone was either breaking into a car or trying to break in the car. So having access to a radio, the police were able to get here in a very fast time and actually arrest the individual. So the security pilot program is working, that we hope will eventually expand into other parts of our CRAs.
Great.
So
Awesome.
that concludes my report.
Okay, great. Ned?
Yeah, we're going to have a shade meeting before the May 1st Commission meeting at 5:30.
Yes. All right, great. All right, we will now hear from the residents of Daytona Beach.
Okay. My first speaker is Bradford Gonzalez, and on deck is John Nicholson.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Bradford.
By the way, Mr. Mayor, I'm a two-time Hall of Famer. Martial arts, yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, out of New York,
Well,
New York City.
well, we're glad to have you in Daytona Beach now.
So I got two issues, basically. One issue is great news. We turned a negative into a positive. Channel 9 reported, I don't know if you all know that, our learning at school on Riverview, the kids are being moved
Yes.
to Osceola.
Mm-hmm.
So the Osceola School in Ormond. So there was a Channel 9 interview of one of their residents in that community. And that person said, we don't want those kids here. right? And I got really offended by that because those of you that don't know, the Learning Institute is for kids with issues, problems.
Sir, I'm sorry, you have to address the commission.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I, educate the people at the same time. But anyway.
Just talk.
So I really got offended by that report. So then they had their meeting coming up, their community meeting, which I went to.
Mm-hmm.
And my question to them was, who's perfect in this room? How many of your kids are perfect? We all have needs.
Mm-hmm.
Just like these kids have needs, kids in your neighborhood have needs. So, and I told them sometimes we forget we're all God's children. That we are. So anyway, I got with the principal. I live right across the street from the school. And we came up with a We Care celebration for the end of the school year, where our community will do a celebration, send-off to these kids. So we're planning on having different things going on, and we got a DJ, and Ken Strickland here has gotten us some food, some hot dogs and hamburgers and things like that. So we appreciate that. We appreciate that. And we appreciate the city also participating with that. So it's going to be a wonderful thing, a wonderful activity. So we took that little positive negative news and we're doing a positive thing, and we're calling it the We Care celebration, which will be May 29th from 10:30.
Where is it going to be?
It's going to be
at Riverview.
At the Riverview School.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which is on Riverview, 10:30 to 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be sending out a flyer to you. So I know the buzzer went up, but can I go ahead and finish up, Mr. Mayor?
You can finish with last comment.
Oh,
You got
okay,
it.
because I had two issues.
You
And
can't.
this one,
You have to come back the next time
okay.
and give you 6 minutes.
All right, well, this is more important anyway.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. As the next speaker comes, I'm going to read what I spoke or stated in social media. You want to call the next speaker?
The next speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is Stephen Taft.
To the residents of Ormond Beach concerned about the students attending Riverview Learning Center being relocated to Osceola, I have never, in my tenure as mayor or commissioner, had one citizen complain about this institution being located on our beach side. We would be elated to have them continue to receive their education in our community and did not want the school to close or change locations. These children should not be feared, as they are not a threat to your quality of life and will not diminish your property values or adversely impact your community. We stand for children in Daytona Beach.
You know, I'm currently at Osceola, teaching at Osceola, and I prefer no children be at Osceola, but that's a totally different subject.
That's because of the facility.
Because of the facilities.
Yeah.
They're so horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
The mold.
Yeah.
But you didn't ask me all of that.
Okay.
Okay. John Nicholson, 413 North Cranberry Avenue. What I would have said with regard to the Economic Development Board is when we choose the people on that board, it appears that many of you don't know who these people are. Now, I go to these meetings, and when you choose badly, it is very, very noticeable when you sit in the audience when that person doesn't have a clue what the planning board does. They ask questions, they're like, you don't ask that question on a planning board. You don't care whether they can get insurance or not. You don't care how old they are. But these questions are asked because that person thinks that they want answers. That's not what the planning board is for. That's not what the economic development board is for. The economic development board is extremely important to us, and apparently it's not to you all. I know 12 of those people that were up, all right? I'm aware one of them is on 5 or 6 boards, all right? We shouldn't have people on 5 or 6 boards, all right? Secondly, they should have a background for the board that they're going to be appointed for. And I mentioned it before the last time. There were 3 people on that board who have economic backgrounds, who have the money to see things move, change in our community. Those are the kind of people that we want on the board, that can change things, that can improve things, that can hire people, that know what it takes to get a business moving and growing and expanding. And that's what I would have said. Look for people who would be a benefit to the board. And that's what I would have said. Secondly, Beachside. The mayor, when he ran for re-election, put out a flyer. It was $50 million for one community, $60 million for another community, and $750,000 for my community. Okay, I'm Beachside. The county recognizes the Beachside as an economic engine. They recognize Daytona Beach as an economic engine for the entire county. Where everything happens is in Daytona Beach. We've been ignoring it for 17 years. Jim had a problem with the people that are on the beach side, and nothing got done. We need to look, and whatever we're doing for downtown, whatever we're doing for Midtown, we should at least do the same for Beachside. That is the money that brings in the money that you can do all this renovating at the different cities, that can get your sidewalks done and paid for from the taxes on Beachside. I was shocked when I had a meeting with the county. New Smyrna Beach is cleaning our clock when it comes to value on their Beachside.
Oh, yes, they are.
$3 billion, they were less than $1 billion. Now
Okay, thank you.
Our next speaker is Stephen Tapp, and on deck is Marjorie Johnson.
You're lying about that.
Good evening, commissioners, city manager, mayor, attorney. I just wanted to come up and introduce myself. I am the new president of 1162, and I was hoping to get with you guys potentially after tonight and maybe exchange contact information, and we can, you know, move forward from there, building a relationship or whatnot. If you guys have needs, if we have needs, moving forward. Other than that, I appreciate your time. You guys have a good night.
Thank you.
Excuse me, you said you're the new president of 1162. Can you state what 1162, because the people don't know
Sorry.
1162.
The International Association of Firefighters, 1162, Daytona Beach Firefighters. And thank you, Commissioner, for the compliment earlier.
Yeah.
Our next speaker is Marjorie Johnson, and on deck is Constance Potier.
Marjorie Johnson, Daytona Beach. I would like to see diversifications of our boards here in the city of Daytona. We have not had that. I agree with Mr. Nicholson. You're putting the same people on these boards and excluding other people. We had Commissioner Reed from Zone 6 to place a woman on the Orange Avenue Recreation Board that lived in Port Orange, Florida. I knew the woman because she was on my Facebook, one of the 5,000 people that I have on my Facebook, and she's been living in Port Orange since she moved here. So you're excluding some people who, myself, I've applied for many boards, and as a former president of the NASB, Outstanding Member of America, leader of the black communities in the Daytona Times, and we're just honored here in the Daytona Times for speaking for those who can and won't. We should not be excluding people from boards in this commission. I spoke with you, Mayor Henry, about boards. I applied, nobody appointed anybody. Only 2 people voted for me, Ken Strickler and Monica. The last board I applied for, stop the discrimination and do the process fairly. Also, I think you're moving in the wrong direction when you remove resident comments from the City of Daytona Beach agenda, and you're speaking before them. This happened under your, since you've been the mayor, Mr. Hendry. Because all those 19 mayors out there, the residents always spoke first, and every commission in Almond, Port Orange, Daytona Beach Shores, the residents are speaking before the last comments of this city commission. So there was no reason why you should be, because the night when I got up and spoke, and after you had removed us from the agenda and made you put us back in the meeting, you should have put the entire agenda back the way it was when you took office. I have a lot of people calling me and commenting on my Facebook about it. Also, on my LinkedIn, where I have over 25,000 followers, they would like to know why are you speaking before the residents? So we need accessibility to be able to speak to you. We don't have that now. I got up and advocated for a special election so you could be in the seat that you're in. That's why you're here. Same thing with you, city manager. We have no access to speak to you. That needs to be corrected. Let's do your job that we're paying you to do. Service is the price you pay for the space you occupy.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Constance Poitier, and on deck is Evelyn Rodriguez.
I am Constance Poitier, 3801 Birch Mountain Road, Port Orange, Florida, founder and director of the Dr. Mary McClobberton Legacy Children's Choir. You all helped us, several of you helped us last year get to New York to perform at Carnegie Hall, but we took the train. So this summer, in July, we're going to Los Angeles to perform, and we need your help. Airline tickets are a must. I would like to just remind you how things like that can be life-changing for children, and we're looking forward to opportunities to continue to grow. A lot of our families, most of them are non-traditional households, and even though that was the challenge for some people getting on the train ticket and us not being able to get enough funds, at the last minute, it was very stressful, but I would like for you guys to consider contributing towards this opportunity for us to sing at a national music convention. Also, Disney is going to be performing for the opening ceremony. Last time, after Carnegie, we only had one student that could go to this same national convention, and he met several music producers who heard him sing and said, hey, you should have auditioned for the Michael Jackson movie. So we don't know what opportunities is going to open up, but what we do know is we need music in our communities. The children are growing up in a musical arena. Churches are struggling, trying to find musicians. We can help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Evelyn Rodriguez, and on deck is Lamentia Collins.
Daytona Beach. Seniors are the people who actually pretty much created this city. There's sweat and tears, retirees, snowbirds. They created this city, and they've made it grow. But the city of Daytona ignores them as far as their programs are concerned. The rec center on Orange Avenue, that used to be packed every weekend with ballroom dancers. They had yoga there. I know because I used to attend. They had other activities, and we don't have that. The tennis court on Orange Avenue, that used to be used a lot. I remember seeing people there all the time when they had the city had a contract with an instructor. He eventually went to the Florida Tennis Center, and then, well, the city stopped maintaining it, and now with we don't know where. So from Atlantic Avenue to the west of the city, from Mason Avenue, pretty much more than that, to the east, we have no tennis for 2/3 of the people, and especially like, let's say, empty nesters or seniors, active seniors. I know you have the Oasis, once a week. They sit there for a couple of hours. They have, at the Cherry Center, they have pickleball, but they can only use it when there's nothing else like basketball going on. Now they have sometimes the game night, which you have to pay for. So citizens are being ignored, and I think it's important for the city to look at them when creating activities, just as much as kids and youth. I think the seniors need to be taken into consideration. I have a question, though. Twice already I've come here, I've asked questions, and they haven't been answered. Do I call my commissioners? Do I call the city manager? Last time I asked why we were giving money to the Bethune-Cookman volleyball team to go to Costa Rica. Today I was concerned about the $400,000 given for 5 months. Who do I talk to get answers about that?
Our next speaker is Laminthia Collins, and on deck is Jermone Thompson. He may have left, though.
Manager, attorney, and mayor. I just want to come here and thank you all for the variances in the setback. And I just want to give y'all a little bit. We need adult sports here in Daytona Beach. I have to go and play sports in Port Orange. I just won championship being 54 years old playing flag football and kickball. So that always been an issue for me, have to go somewhere else because my girls graduated from mainland, and I always wanted to know why they don't have sports here for adults in Daytona. And a better system for mid-Florida in the city when it comes down to going through first-time home buyer programs. Is there a better way to help somebody that's gonna come in behind me? Because I had people like on my job, how this worked, why it took so long, what you had to do. I was, like I said, almost about to quit, but something, my pastor, everyone said, don't quit, just stick it out, it's gonna work out. And once again, I just wanna thank y'all. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kent. Thank you, Mayor, for listening and helping me. Y'all have a good night.
Is Mr. Thompson here, Mr. Jerome, or did he leave? I think he left. Our next speaker is Frederick Brown, and on deck is Emily Nice.
Good evening. Fred Brown, 1508 Crescent Ridge, Daytona Beach. Especially since she just spoke about it, Ms. Collins, I am glad to see you're moving forward on this. As we all know, as ball's now in our city manager's court, I trust he will move with great expediency to ensure that the property gets developed in a timely manner. Several things I want to comment on. Also, the remarks that Mr. Gonzalez made about Riverview, and also the mayor's comments that he made on social media, reminds us to be very careful whom we vote for in the upcoming school board election. Decisions were made there. I followed the meetings. It was terrible what was going on. Most people don't, and that's the unfortunate matter. I also want to concur almost 100% with what Mr. Nicholson said about the Economic Development Board. Truly one of the most important boards that we have here in the city, and it's a shame that our elected officials weren't more prepared. There was a series of giggles and laughter and bantering back and forth. This is a serious board. It's very, very important. You need to know who you're voting for. You need to know what they bring to the table. It's not about who donates to what or who's a buddy or a friend to somebody. It's about what they're going to do for this city. This is the economic engine of Volusia County, at least it should be, And John's absolutely right. Our clock is being cleaned. Another area that I'm very concerned about, I brought it up the last meeting and the freight train went through with a 7-0 vote, paying $517,500 to repair a roof on a building. Its construction value listed as $33,000 with the appraiser in Volusia County, the maximum value of $99,000. Does not make a great deal of sense to me. And it should not make a great deal of sense to the rest of the voters here in Daytona Beach. That's an insane amount of money to put a roof on an old building that probably should have been just knocked down and a decent building put up for probably half the cost, or at least equal the money, and look good in that area. Speaking of that area, right across the water from that is the Orange Avenue Center. I paid particular attention to the boards when we were reviewing that. A great deal of great ideas came up from that, and the building continues to deteriorate worse than ever. The city has the fiduciary responsibility to ensure that it does not deteriorate any further. Windows are knocked out, so water is getting in. Damage is being done to the building unnecessarily. And you want to talk about the potential for a Black History Museum, that was one of the issues brought up. I also want to push for a park at 2010 South Peninsula. Zone 1 has no park. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Emily Nice, and on deck is Ann Ruby.
941 North Oleander. I want to bring up a couple of things. First, I want to absolutely compliment code enforcement, Mr. Jackson. The property that I've brought up several times here before the commission, 999 North Atlantic on the corner of Atlantic and University, the once condemned hotel that's been dragging on and on, was fined after they had the uncovered pool with a broken fence for 8 months. Finally, after the owner was fined, that's when he fixed his fence. And again, the property has never been code compliant since the beginning in the summertime when it was first cited. And we had the special magistrate meeting last week where he was fined $25,000. He didn't bother to show up and has not moved no action on his property. So I want to compliment the code enforcement team and the special magistrate and Mr. Jackson for ensuring that that fine went through, because as the Embry-Riddle student said, abandoned buildings are a problem. They attract crime, they degrade neighborhoods, and we in the Seabreeze neighborhood want to do everything we can to avoid that. And then also, Brad Gonzalez gave me permission to address the concern he didn't have time for, and that was he had applied to be on the code board in February, and he has not heard back anything. I understand that they had a code board meeting that they didn't even have a quorum for last time, so he would like to hear something on that. His application is in, and it did say code board on it. So maybe there can be some communication there. Well, you would be nominating him, yes. He just ran out of time, so. And then also, Commissioner Strickland, I met with you on March 15th for a 4-hour-long meeting where we discussed the needs of our neighborhood, many of them longstanding for years. We had 2 other residents there, and I have not heard back from you regarding the progress of what was requested, particularly the Seabreeze lights. The lights that are on, that were added to Seabreeze Boulevard were funded by FDOT, not COVID funds. So I hope that you'll consider moving those items forward.
Our final speaker tonight is Ann Ruby.
Ann Ruby, 137 Park Avenue. I didn't attend last meeting, beginning of the month, because I was not here. I was watching the eclipse. I was very excited. I was traveling. But I did watch it online. And I heard the very impassioned plea for cleaning up the window displays on Main Street and in our tourist area. And I don't think that's something that we can just let slide by. Because we're going to do a lot of investment in the Main Street area, trying to get it cleaned up. And I'm hoping that as a commission, that you would ask Attorney Gross to get a really definitive opinion on what we can and cannot do. And if there's nothing that we really can do, then maybe you guys could pass a resolution that would encourage the business owners to clean up their acts themselves. And then maybe we could get some guidance. Maybe there needs to be some street protests in some of these people. You know, if you've got T-shirts that are saying things you don't want to have to explain to a 5-year-old in your window, maybe we just need to have people out there marching in front of your store. So I just think we cannot let this kind of slide by without addressing it somehow. So I'm hoping that you guys would put some effort into getting that resolved. Thank you.
Thank you. That was our final speaker, Mr. Mayor.
Good night, Daytona Beach.